Hey everybody, welcome to the monthly Zoom call. This month we have Coach Brock. We brought Brock on because not only do I know him, I think even though he doesn't have the largest following in all of real estate, I think he provides more value than any of those guys. So that's why we brought him on this month. This is our first one, and he's going to give us tons of resources, tons of value. And we're really going to dive into the stuff that actually moves the needle in real estate, like not the generic questions, not the stuff you hear every time on Instagram or YouTube videos, but the really important stuff that a lot of times you don't think about. Brock has an incredible story. He has gone from just a few years ago not having everything perfectly in order, and now he is rocking and rolling. He has teams, he has downlines, he has a book, he's an author. You can see his office. He's going now. So luckily we have him here for about 30 minutes. But Brock, going right into it, if you don't mind, for people that don't know your story, if you could just give us the really quick cliff notes, like let's go back, let's say 10 years. If you could fly through the last 10 years and bring us to today, and then we'll dive right into to the good stuff.
Well, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. Thanks for those that watched the recording. Thank you to all those who have helped us out on this Referral Mate platform. We have been very blessed and fortunate that we have partnered with some larger investors, and yeah, we run over 100 referrals through your program each year. It's been a little challenging when we try to use these other sources, these huge Facebook groups that have all these referrals, and your phone just absolutely gets destroyed on so many people engaging with you. And so your platform has helped us out tremendously because now I get to go look and actually see what they say, who they are, and I can all do it at one main source. So that has been an amazing thing and a huge difference in our business with the referrals. As far as my resume, I've been very blessed with God has put ups and downs in my life, and I know that those been on done on purpose to help me share with people and agents all across the country and how to grow. Been in the industry since 2007. Managed, developed a property management company from zero to 107 units in a year, and that was during when somebody, I think it was Alyssa, when somebody said I was in '07 and '08, a challenging year. It was. It was an extremely challenging year. During that time period when the financial market crashed, I was literally still a school teacher. I did that for 12 years before I got into real estate, developed a property management company. That was my ticket to being able to to leave teaching, get into it. I've been out of teaching now for a little bit, about 12 years. So been out of teaching since then. I was assistant principal, football coach, and in 2019, the world kind of took me by surprise, and God made a huge shakeup in my life, and I went through a very large, challenging lawsuit and lost my real estate license for a year. When I lost my license, I was also recovering from alcohol addiction. I've learned at a very unique way how to become a functioning alcoholic. And it required a lot of challenges. Lost my family, lost my house, lost my cars, pretty much lost everything. And when you don't have a real estate license, I found a way to still make over $280,000 that year without a license and overcame adversity, learned how to talk to people at a very high level, and still been blessed and fortunate since then that I make over $225,000 a year just talking to FISBOs and expireds. Hence, I created my book, and now we developed another platform, and that's referrals. And your business has helped us with that, and so I'm very blessed and fortunate to be in the top 4% of income earners in the United States based off of the different avenues of income, coming from brokenness twice in my life to being able to overcome adversity. And here I am today. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's like you hit everything that I was thinking too, and that's leads us into the first question: is those agents that are out there that feel like where you felt in 2019? It's like, okay, I think I know what to do. I think I know how to do this, but I feel like I'm trapped in, like I'm in a cage here. Like I don't know how to, maybe I don't know how to get that first listing. I don't know how to scale this. Like, what would you say to the agents that feel like they really are trapped? Like, how do, like, is it really just mindset? Because everybody talks about, oh, it's your mindset, it's how you go at it. But for you, at least for me, I think when I shifted my mindset, like, okay, it's out there, I can go get it, that changed everything for me. But what, Like, what do you think? How do you get out of that cage that everybody feels trapped in?
Well, I think the most important thing that people struggle with is you have to find strong enough why that will overcome every excuse that you possibly have. In our industry, excuses are going to be everywhere. Could I have easily just said, I mean, many times people said, go back to teaching school. Like, why are you going to try to fight this? Like, why would you, like, just go back to school for a year? You know how many times I heard that? Just go back to my mom. Go back to school for a year, Brock. It's going to be okay. You be assistant principal, and you can go and make your $55,000 a year. I'm like, Mom, I want to make $55,000 a month, not a year. I can't do what I want to do. And so you have to have a purpose. You have to have a reason that gets your tail out of bed every single morning, no matter what takes place. Are there challenges? You better believe it. I say many times that I've been broke twice in my life. Broke is a season, poor is a mindset. If you have that mindset of being poor and being the victim mode, then you will stay in that hamster wheel. I was talking to an agent yesterday. She was telling me about her kids, and she's a single mom, and she's running around and she's trying to do this, this, and this. And I said, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about this. You hired me to coach you, and now I'm about to tell you, I love you, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I got two kids. I'm a single dad. I run five different income streams of businesses that I run. And guess what? Nobody cares one way or the other about my life. They want to know results. And so it's the same way with us that we have to find a way. And mine is my kids. What is your passion? What is your purpose? And mine is my children. Because I said this, and I'll let you get to the next question. This literally were the two questions I asked myself that gets me fired up. I knew that if I kept my drinking, I knew that if I don't do what I need to do every single day, that some other man is going to walk down the aisle with my daughter at her wedding, and some other man is going to give my son a high five at the high school football game, scoring a touchdown. And I said, not on my dead body. And so I have an attachment to every goal, to every dream. There's an attachment that I place on it, and it's typically very emotional because emotion moves the needle.
Yeah, that's I got chills. Like we've met in person. We talk every single week, but that's like when you said walking your daughter down the aisle or your son in a football game. You're right. If you don't step up, no matter if it's in real estate or in life, if you don't step up, somebody else is going to, and everything that you think you could have had, somebody's going to take from you. And that's the same thing, like you said, your parents were saying, just go back and be a teacher. Just, give it a little bit of time. Everybody says that no matter what you're trying to do. My brother's now talking about, like, getting into business, getting into real estate. And somebody he was talking to is like, maybe not now. I think personally they do that out of, because they love you. Like your parents, they love you. They know, okay, this is comfortable. Don't quit the job yet. Don't go all in, because what if it goes wrong? And, I think a lot of the times it gets fluffed up that they're doing that because they don't believe in you. Maybe that's the truth, but I think at the same time they're saying that because they love you and they don't want you to, be quote unstable. Selling real estate is an unstable career. You don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. If you're a teacher, it's in 2 weeks, it's getting direct deposited. And my parents, my sister and my mom actually were very similar to that. When I started in real estate, my first 6 months did not close a deal at all. Took me 6 months to make $1,200. But my sister and my mom, they had like an intervention with me. They actually got a job application from like a local warehouse. It's called Silver Line, and they're like, just go here, work night shift. You'll make $30 an hour, and you'll be good. And like that was my why. I'm like watch this. So that's what really got me going. So that that's it's interesting because I think a lot of people are probably feeling that right now. Like, go back and just do it the easy way. But what we do is the hard way. And like you said, the financial rewards are 10 times what you can get anywhere else. But to get a little bit more tactical, when I was doing my more in-depth research on you, I saw that you have like 200 5-star Google reviews. And in my opinion, your online presence is everything. And when I close a deal, I almost feel a little bit awkward saying, hey, good job, here's your deal, now give me something, give me a 5-star review. Do you just rip the band-aid off and say like, hey, go give me a 5-star review, or how do you go about it, because you did it obviously like 150, 200 times?
So, yeah, the key thing with Google reviews, I realize that they're very important. And when you go to what restaurants, you go to places that you go to today, you look at Google reviews. You look at me and my kids are going to. We just got a beach house, um, right there in Murrells Inlet, and we got a beach house for the week. Well, what did I do? I looked at the reviews to see what the people thought about the place. Okay, it's on the ocean. I don't, is it like is there going to be like a pit? Like what does the environment look like? Because they'll tell you exactly what it is. Don't trust the pictures. It actually is this or whatever it might be. The house smells like it's not that clean, like or it's pristine. My family and I enjoyed it. So I started to study Google reviews, and I'm like, man, I only got four of them. I need to get more Google reviews. How many of you would love to have 100 Google reviews? How many do you think that would change your business because you can now say, please go look at my Google reviews? Okay, the average agent has less than 10 Google reviews. All right. And so I studied this and I was just like, okay, and you said this perfectly. You stated this. At the end of the transaction, I feel like I'm asking them something, right? Isn't that what you said?
Exactly. I feel like I just got paid. My mindset is like, okay, we're even now. I helped you. I got paid. I can't ask you for more. That's, my mindset behind it. But obviously, it's limiting.
So let me ask you this question. Have any of your deals, be honest, have any of your deals gone bad? Gotten really challenging where it's gone
Yeah,
really, really bad that you probably can't even ask them for a Google review,
100%.
right? And how many of you on here watching the recording or on here now would agree to that? And so I studied that as well. See, being a football coach, how do we get better? We watch film, we study our opponents. And so that's what I would do. And so I would look at what my goal was. My goal was to get over 100 Google reviews. And I said, okay, how can I do this? Where are my problems? And so I realized that I would be missing out on opportunities because I waited to the end. So guess what?
Mm.
I asked for Google reviews throughout the entire transaction. So I do FISBOs and expireds. And so when I get to the listing agreement and they sign with me as an expired, I say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you mind writing me a Google review on the experience of how it's been with me as your agent compared to your first one? Please don't use names. Guess what? I get a Google review. Now, we go through the process of the transaction and I share with them, listen, here's my goals to get you 97% of the the seller net sheet that I have here. If I do that, net you this in the time period, would you be okay? Yeah, great. Get the offer. It's above it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I would like to know, would you mind writing me a Google review about my negotiating on how I was able to negotiate over the seller net sheet that we talked about? Would you mind doing that for me? And guess what? I get a Google review. Well, guess
Yeah, and
what?
that makes sense because at that point, they're almost like, okay, Brock just did something for me. He just got me, like in this current position right now, he just got me, an inspection report that's completely clean. And he negotiated everything we wanted. So at those, like, that makes sense at those stages rather than waiting for the whole transaction, because they're going to think, I really didn't like that the photographer was 2 days late, or I really didn't love that the title company didn't send me the documents on time. I like that you say, right, if I did a good job, write me a review on my negotiating skills like today, or on my the photography I brought in or the marketing I did. I really like that because that's something I think about all the time. I'm like, the transaction overall went well, but every transaction has two or three things that could get you a 3-star review, and I look at it as I'd rather have five-star reviews than 50 reviews, and a couple of them are 3 stars. So that's it makes sense to go incrementally.
Well, think about what you're doing. How many of you use videos? How many of you, when you share the video with your client, be like, hey, here's your property. Wow, this is great. This is amazing. Wow, look how you did that video. Would you mind writing me a Google review, a Facebook review, a Zillow review? Create whatever the hell you guys want because they're all different platforms and just say, hey, would you write? See, it's the agent's responsibility to lead them to what you want them to write about, but we don't. We just tell them, leave me a review. I wonder, I mean, I guess about the house. No, tell them I would like this, and I would like this about this, and then I only need it to be 2 or 3 sentences tops. Why? Because when they do a Google review, people are like, "Oh God, I don't even know what to write. I don't even know." And then the last problem that real estate agents do is they don't give people a time period. Hey, could you write me a review, please? I just really would like you to write me a review. Really appreciate if you could write me a review. Well, if they write you a review today, or they write you a review in 2 weeks, you're screwed. You don't give people time. So when I ask my Google reviews, I say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. What do you think about my negotiating skills for you to get over asking price? Did you really like it? Would you mind writing me a Google review? My team and I are actually doing a segment on social media tomorrow. Would you be able to get it to me by 6 o'clock today so I can get it out? And guess what? I'll have people call me at 5:30. Rock, I'm running home from work. I'm so sorry I'm late. I apologize, right? Because I gave them an expectation. They said yes. They want to carry their end of the bargain, their end of the stick. And so I get Google reviews all the time because I set the precedent of what I want, when I need it by, and what it's for.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I mean, I have to implement that like today because there's wins and transactions that we just had today and yesterday. So it might as well get ahead before something goes wrong. And that kind of almost again leads me into the next question. It seems like when you talk with sellers, you're very prepared, or yeah, I'm sure buyers too. Like you have everything in order that you need in order to okay. After this, we're going to get the review. That means you have a structure around how you operate going to the beginning of working with a new client, whether it's a buyer or a seller, in this situation, let's say it's a seller, you're going to meet them at the house. Obviously, you pull into the driveway, the blood's pumping, you feel a little nervous. What do you do to not only not feel as nervous, but feel prepared? Like, what are you bringing? Are you bringing obviously a CMA and your plans, but what else? What else are you bringing? How are you dressing? Like, because these are again, they're the things that move the needle. If you show up in a t-shirt and the next guy shows up in a suit, first impressions are everything. So what are you doing at like the first meeting? How do you structure that?
Good question. And I'm going to try to answer this as quickly as possible because this is like a whole coaching realm just on this. Okay. How do I get a conversion of 90%? Is because I follow a set of processes, a set of strategies. So Barbara, I'll say this. Barbara was like one of my girlfriends on this show that I shared with her, and we went on a date. And I said to Barbara, I said, pretend we're at a restaurant in a bar. Okay. And I first meet you. And I want you all to think about this because you said you go to the house and you're nervous and you're trying to be prepared. Okay. The first reason why you're nervous is because you're probably not prepared. Okay. That's the first reason why. The second reason is because you've never met face to face or this is your second conversation with them. And so it's a little nerve wracking. So if I went on a date with Barbara, the first time that I see her, is it fair to say that most of us on our first date, Alyssa and Jake, you guys just got married? I'm pretty sure like controversies or issues going on today are a little bit easier to handle than they were on your first date. You're probably
Yeah,
not talking
definitely.
about life things on your first date. You're probably a little pitter patter, little nervous on your first date. Oh my gosh, I don't know. How do I look? We're all nervous about this stuff, right? Okay. By the fifth date or the 10th date, do you feel the same way or reduce the amount of nervousness? I would think, yeah, because comfort is set in. So comfort and the lack of preparation cause you to be nervous and not to be at your A game. So when I'm going on my first date, how do I remove that for my first listing? Is I talk to them 5 times before I go to the listing. It's my 5 touch program that I do before I get to the listing. So when I see you, we're talking about the game. When I see you, I'm talking about the kids. They've already got everything. We've already went through the meat and potatoes. So when I see them, what's up, Jake? How you doing? Oh, where's Alyssa? What's she got going on? What's she doing? Okay, great. You guys watched the game? You saw the Eagles? Man, you guys must be really stacked. Must be so excited because I know already about you because I've already been talking to you 5 times. So it's the 5 touch program I do before I get to the listing. Okay. Because here's the thing you asked what are the things that I bring and you name the normal things. So how do you elevate and separate yourself from the pack? Is they already got it. They already got that information before I go to the house. My big wig clients, I was talking to another agent right before here, and she's in the luxury market. I asked her, well, what does your Uber concierge service look like? What are you talking about? Oh man, let me just tell you, this is what you do. You get all your paperwork, you go into your Uber, you go to Uber delivery, you get to bring a package, you go to your grocery store, you buy a flower, and you deliver that to your client. You deliver that to your future client. And guess what? You call them because guess what? Your phone tells you when they're going to be there, and you call them a minute they received it. Hey, how you doing, Jake? Brock Zevian here. Great. Listen, did you get my package? It said it was just delivered. Huh? Yeah, I did. I just want to give you a care package to share with you. I'm so excited to see you, your family, and that flower when I come out there next week. When I come out there Saturday. I want to make sure you got all my documents there. In there has my listing agreement. We're going to go over our seller property disclosures, our mineral and oil and gas rights, all the documents that we're going to see. I've highlighted everywhere where I'm going to be talking to you about listing your property and your initials and signatures. If you get a chance, if you can review that before I touch base with you, because tomorrow we're going to talk at 10 a.m. just to go over our pre-listing material. Jacob, I really appreciate your time. Now, do you think that that sets the stage?
I mean, absolutely. Like, if I show up and, I can have everything, I can have the suit on, I can have the button down, I can have everything. But if you beat me to the punch, like if I'm
He
competing with
doesn't.
you, or if I'm, a seller and I'm like, oh my gosh, this agent, like I thought agents just take your money and your commission. This guy sent me flowers. He wrote a card. Like he's excited. He's two steps ahead. So that just makes me think this whole transaction, this guy's going to be two steps ahead. And what else do you do? Obviously, like having knowledge on market reports and trends and rates. What else do you do? Things like that just set you so far ahead of your competition, or is it really just having the structure and the plans in place to do that?
So for those that are watching this, if you want my pre-approval, my pre-listing questions, there's 10 questions I ask. I do 24 hours. Put pre-approval in the chat here. For those that do the recording, you're gonna have to get with Jake because I won't have access to it. But put pre-approval, and I will send you over my 10 questions. The 10 questions are like going to the car dealership on a Sunday when nobody's there. Okay. It is they're not they don't know what I'm about to do to them, but they're not as defensive when I'm doing my prequel. Because they churn a script just like when an open house people come in. Honey, remember, we don't say anything. We have a real estate agent. Act tough when we get in the house. Right? They set the stage. Okay. They're not any different than an agent. We have our script, they have their script. And so what we do is we want to make like, yeah, you want to have your realist report, your RPR residential property reports. I check out PropWire, know what their amortization is, what their equity is in their house. You can go to PropWire for free for that type of stuff. Go to Redfin, go to Zillow, go to these different websites because guess what? They're doing it too. So when they tell me their price, I said, "Oh gosh, that's right. Yeah, Zillow has that too." I noticed Redfin's numbers were a little bit lower. Oh yeah, you saw that too? See, I already know that they look at that stuff. But look at it all. Make sure that you're doing this type of stuff to prepare yourself before you go into the listing appointment or do these prequals so you can set the stage with these people. So those are some of the key things that I do to make sure that I have my ducks in a row. Everything's always highlighted. I have everything that I need. I go to Amazon. I'm at Real and I don't have like this is all I put. It's a blank with the same color. I get these at Amazon. I've not lost a deal because my folder looks blank. But I don't look professional if I have it just on a piece of paper just all over the place. Okay. So I make sure that I have a folder. Go to Amazon. There's $30 for like 100 of them with the color of your firm. Okay. So whatever that is in preparation, all of it is what you do beforehand before you walk into the house.
Yeah, and that's I mean that right there goes to show what everybody's going to be competing with too. Because if you let's say you're a seller and you want to sell your house, and one agent's bringing you this stuff, getting ahead of you, giving you the flowers, giving you the handwritten card, all of this stuff. If you're the seller, you automatically think this guy is miles ahead of the competition. We have to work with him. Also, when you give somebody something, there's some kind of study out there, but you also like it's just like human nature. When you give somebody something, they always try to give you something bigger and better in return. Like for example, if you give somebody a lollipop, they're going to come the next day with a whole bag of candy for you. It's just human nature to always try to outdo each other. So you doing that, hopefully the seller outdoing you is then giving you that business in return. And then finally, I have a bunch more questions, but I know everybody's on a tight time here. Um, how do you like every realtor is always chasing after the next client? Like, oh, where's my next check going to come from? How am I going to do this? How do you attract business rather than chasing it? Is it the social media? Is it everything in combination? What do you do in the next? Okay, we got a minute, so I'll challenge you here.
You know, to me, attraction right now is I do, and I'll show you guys here a quick little virtual background that I work on. I'm always studying. I'm always learning a little bit about the market. Here's an example of something we're doing right now. We talk about the market. If I was to come here, like we use this type of content. We use a lot of green screens right now. We do not become a silent agent. We're a real estate agent, means that we're proactive. We're out there in the industry. You'll see me use a lot of different charts. Where's the market forecast? And this is all in different, if people want all the websites that I have, there's about 5 or 6 websites that I study. Just type in websites in the chat and I'll get it over to Jake and Alyssa so that way they can
Yep.
get it to you. But how do we chase? I mean, we create it by sharing with people. Here's something I do on Mondays. I do Brock's Market Update, and I haven't. Let's see, as you can see, I just position myself in a way that you don't need to see me twice. But we put this out here and we talk about the market. So how do you create it? How do you attract it? By talking about it. You create it by putting yourself out there. You create it by making sure people know that, like, hey, this guy really knows what he's doing. I'm not a secret agent just saying, hey, read this. Nobody's going to read. Let's just be honest. Not a lot of people read. They don't enjoy, I mean, very few do. And so you gotta do videos. It's gotta be less than a minute. You gotta do green screens. It's a lot of these different things that you put yourself out there to people be like, damn, that guy knows what he's got going on. How did I go from having zero or like 2 or 3 referrals a year to right now we're on pace to do probably 175? Is because I put myself out there that I'm a real estate coach. And I've been doing it day in and day out. I show up and somebody and these investors reach out to me and say, hey man, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. Would you mind if we sat down and talked to you a little bit about see how we can help each other? Right? How did you find me, Jacob? That's what you
Through
did.
social
You
media. I
saw
just yeah, exactly. Saw your stuff and I reached out. So you
I
attracted
didn't
me
chase
to
you.
you through your content.
Yep. So what content you putting out there? And are you doing it consistently? That would be my best advice.
Yeah, and I completely agree because that's where I'm at right now in my business. Why, I'm gonna start working with Chris because I'm at the point where the business is coming in. I was just curious. Maybe I'm crazy, and that's the game plan I follow. The more content, the more eyeballs, the better. So that's exactly what we're doing. And then that's my last question for us. But if anybody, Chris or Barbara, Alyssa, anybody, if you have questions, we got another 8 minutes here. So if anything comes to mind, Brock always says it takes 15 seconds for somebody to ask the first question. So it might be awkward silence here. But if anybody has any questions, we have 8 minutes still. So fire away.
I'll go
Don't leave
first.
Alyssa out. I was like, don't leave Alyssa out now. She might have something too.
Yeah, so this actually is really a question we have for Referral Mate and for Jake's real estate business. We are starting to make more content. We hired a content manager. We don't know how to make a hook. All of our videos are just kind of like they go right into it and we're not getting the attention. So you have any advice on, like starting to come up with ideas that will get people hooked right away?
So there's two things you can do. Well, a couple things you can do, but one, I did this at first, and then it wasn't where I wanted to be, so then I had to hire it. So my where I'm at today is it does cost a couple grand, but I hired a social media content coach. And so he has really elevated me on there's 5 steps, there's tags, there's reasons why you get tagged, there's specific people why you get tagged, and then there's a follow-up journey that you go through, or origin story, like all this stuff that I really had no idea about. And so like to go to like the full extreme, I would say let's hire a content coach, hire somebody who's doing this. And really, if you got the content, but you're like, we have tons of content because I'm always on Zoom. We just don't have the exposure. How do you create the exposure? So that's what Jim does for me. Second thing that I would do is I would go to ChatGPT and I would say create a hook for the following content. Go into your YouTube, whatever your video is, get into your video, get to the transcript, download the transcript, then copy paste the transcript, then go into ChatGPT and say, please create an engaging hook for real estate agents of the following transcript. Hit enter and tell it to tell you what it is. And I do that for all our videos now. That's what we did for a while and it was working, but I wanted more. Just like anything, you just want more and you want to have a system and a process. So we've learned how to go at a higher level from 300 400 views to how do we get over 2,000 views, how do we get 3,000 views, how do we have hundreds of people following you on your content, how do I go from 3,500 on my Facebook to 10,000 people on my Facebook. So it's that next level. So the steps would be use your content you have, transcribe it, put it in ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT for your hooks, create 5 hooks, and then pick one that you want, and then use that and create that system and do that process for a while. And then when you start creating content or you start creating energy and you want to grow, then reach out to me, or you can reach out to me today and I'll give you Jim, and he's been phenomenal on helping me get more exposure. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Who else has a question? Phone's driving me crazy.
Is that awkward silence I talked about?
It always happens. It always happens. Barbara's leaning in. She's got the question. She's leaning in. You can always tell when people go to their mute button too.
Yeah, I had to find it. So I know that you do a little bit on the YouTube as well, and that's something that I've been thinking about trying to get into. I'm starting a group of women that are entrepreneurial or in real estate, and I want us to. We're just going to sit around for like an hour once a week and just have a general kind of chat about the market and what's going on and what we're doing to make things happen. Try to get some movers and shakers in there and whatnot. What would be your advice on getting the YouTube up and going and trying to get people to look at it?
So the first thing that they always tell me, the biggest thing, and anytime I go into a room, they always say, Brock, why are you even in here? I said, what do you mean? And there's like, you have so much content. And really, it's showing up daily and having so much content. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to get your content into YouTube and you need to do it daily and you need to constantly be doing it. Well, my problem is my SEO is not very good. My problem is my tags are not where they need to be. So there's 2 parts. The first part is creating the content. That's actually where most people really struggle. And then they think they arrive when they create content. And here comes stage 2, where Jake and Alyssa are going through this. It's like, well, we have the content, but now we're not getting the exposure. Okay. So those are the 3 tiers.